Alright guys, so here's the review of the Escapement Time Type B Flieger. So before you click off, no, you haven't seen this one before, but yes, I have actually reviewed that watch before, so I'll explain. So this is actually an updated version of that previous one. The main difference being the movement. So the movement in it now is a high beat movement, so it's not an NH35 that was in the previous one, but there are actually some other changes as well. And some are more subtle than others, some are more obvious, but I'm going to be doing a quick comparison between the two. So, full disclosure though, I wasn't sent the watch for free. I had to pay half. So, I guess this is like a half paid promotion, whatever that means. But you know the score. I'm going to keep it 100% honest all the time, no matter what. So, question is, how do the two compare? Would I recommend this one over the other one? Let's get down to it and find out. So, here it is. And like I said in the intro, they've actually changed the box up slightly. It's quite a nice one, a little bit different. Here's the previous one, if I bring that in. That's what they used to look like, so not all that different. Just a slight upgrade, I guess. Something a little bit more interesting. So, other than that though, it's just the same. You don't get anything fancy in the box. Oh, hang on, quickly talk about this, because I've actually swapped the strap out already. So, it's more or less, from what I can tell, the same strap as the previous one. In fact, I'll bring in the previous one. So this is the NH35 version on the original strap still. If I bring this in now, just separate these and I'll show you. I think there is a slight difference. So, still got the orange on the back and everything to stitch in. But then when it comes to this bit at the top, I think it is slightly thicker on this new one. Yeah, there you go, you can see. So that is one slight difference when it comes to the straps. But like I said, there's going to be a few other differences as well as we go on. But we'll talk about that as we get into it. So here's the watch itself. So the strap I've got this on at the moment is actually a Strapsco Strap. So they sent me that for free. But again, like I said with the watch in the intro, I paid half price for this watch. If you do like this strap, I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to check it out, because I think it goes well with this watch. I do like the fact that it's got the rivets, and then it's got the brushed buckle, slightly larger than the other one. I think it just ties in better with it being a mainly brushed case, whereas the previous one, well, the other one, sorry, that came with it. It is nice. Is nicely finished, that chamfered polished detail on the edge. But I personally just think this goes a bit better. But anyway, getting back to the watch itself. So, one of the main differences you're probably going to know right off the bat with this one is that crystal. If I bring the other one back in again, you can see there's a lot more reflection on this other one. And that is because this has actually got a slightly curved crystal, whereas the other one is actually flat. So hopefully that's coming up on camera. So slight curve on that one, and then that one's completely flat. So because of that, because there isn't any AR coating, you do get a bit more distortion, a bit more reflection, which isn't great. I would have liked to see some AR on it. But other than that, in natural light, it's not as bad as this. So another difference is this crown. So if we're going to zoom in, there's a lot more grip on that crown, and it is a slightly different design as well. Again, I'll bring the other one back in so you can see them. So again, you can see clearly there's just more detailing on the newer one than the old one, and a lot more grip. So nice improvement, nice upgrade on that. When it comes to the dial, they're identical, no difference whatsoever. So you've got those blued hands. Well, I think they're blued, they might be blue paint, I'm not entirely sure. If you saw Jody's video of the other one, the NH35 version, he seems to think they're just blue, not actually blued. I'm not 100% sure myself because I've not actually seen blued ones before, so I don't know what they're supposed to be like. But either way, they look good. So zoom back out and then bring the other one back in again, and we'll talk about the other differences. So if we put them side by side like this, you could probably see straight away there's a little bit of a size difference, which is actually more noticeable if I turn it on its side. So this one is actually quite a bit thicker, the older NH35 version, whereas this one has got the PT5000. So that's a high beat movement. And then if I turn it round, there's a really big difference. So you've got the NH35 version with that nice plane on the back, which I do quite like. But the PT5000, you've actually got a display case back, so you can see that movement. And then also, we've got the spec sheet around the outside. So that is the same. So I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see it in a bit more detail. So we've got the made in China, Flieger automatic, stainless steel, sapphire crystal, waterproof, 100 meters. So this was something that was a little bit odd with the other one. That was actually 300 meters water resistant. I'm not really sure why, with it being a Flieger. So that was a little bit strange. But perhaps that's why the case is a bit slimmer as well. Perhaps they've just reduced some of that case bulk because they don't need it to be water resistant 300 meters. It's a pilot's watch, you're not going to be going diving with it. So it's just overkill really. So seeing as we've spoken about the crystal briefly, let's quickly test it out, see if it is actually sapphire. Using the trusty Diamond Selector 2. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal. So that is good, especially with it being curved. Let's quickly test out the back. And that is actually sapphire as well, which is a nice touch, because you don't always get that on display case backs. So it is nice to see. So now, let's get down to the important part of the differences between these two, and that's the measurements. So we'll start with this one. In fact, no, we'll start with the old one. I'll pop that down for a minute. So, with the NH35 version, this was one of the things that people did have a bit of an issue with. It's a little bit large. So you've got a diameter of 42.5, well, just under. And then we've got a thickness of just over 12. I'll pop that down for a second and I'll show you the difference with this one. So diameter, we've got just a touch over 40, so basically 40 mil. And then thickness wise, we've got 11.6, and that is with that slightly domed crystal as well. So that is nice to see. They have listened, because people did say if it was smaller they would have preferred the other one, they would have bought one. So it's a nice upgrade, along with the other bits, the movement, the crystal being curved now, little detail changes like the crown. The lug width on both of them is the same though, and that is 20 mil. Another important one, the most important probably, pop that down again, is the lug to lug. So getting back to the NH35 version, we've got a lug to lug of just over 50 mil, which is a little on the large side. So with the newer one, let's see what we've got. So we've got 48.7, so not a massive difference, but a difference that is a positive one. It does make a little bit of a difference, because personally I think if you've got a 7-inch wrist at least, you want to try and get that lug to lug below 50. 50 is probably the absolute limit of what I'd go for. If it's over that, I think it's a bit too big. But I'll show you what it's like on wrist, compare the two and show you in a bit. Quickly check out the loom on this though before we do that. So you can see that lighting up slightly already, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. Gotta keep it fair. Gotta keep it consistent. So one thing I didn't mention, with this one they only seem to have the Type B at the moment, the PT5000. I'm assuming at some point the Type A will probably follow, but at the moment it's just this Type B. And there's the loom on it. So it's BGW9 on this, and I do like that. It is really nice that they've loomed the whole dial pretty much. But as with the other version, if you saw the review for that one, the dial does actually fade a bit quicker than the hands, but I guess that's not too big a deal. The hands is what you want to be sticking around. If something's going to fade first, you want the hands to last longer, obviously. And with it being a fully printed dial, nothing applied, there's not really a lot of space to add that much loom. But it's a decent loom on this. If anything, actually, from comparing the two, I'd say the hands on this one have actually got slightly more loom than my NH35 version. I don't know if that's going to be something else they've improved, or if I just got unlucky with one or lucky with the other. But the loom on the hands is definitely better, definitely lasts a little bit longer. Not by a massive amount, but a noticeable amount, so it is good. So again, a nice upgrade I think, if that is what they've done. I'm assuming they probably have. So all that's left to do now is show you what it's like on wrist. So I'll start with the NH35 first, that version, and then I'll show you the difference and how much smaller this one wears. So this is what the NH35 version, the 42mm, looks like on my 7-inch wrist. So as I was saying, with that lug to lug, I think it is right on the borderline of what's going to fit a 7-inch wrist. If you've got smaller, definitely not for you. Obviously if you've got a larger wrist, you're going to be fine. And then when it comes to that thickness, it's not a slim watch, it's pretty chunky. But the standard strap that comes with it is pretty nice. Nice buckle as well. So it did sell well. I do still like this one, but I'll show you now what the new version looks like with the PT5000 and that smaller case. And here's the new slimmer case with that PT5000 movement. So quite a bit thinner, wears nicer on wrist, not as tall. Again, with that lug to lug, it is only slightly smaller, but it's noticeable. I would have liked to seen it even smaller if possible, but I don't think you could really do it without making the dial smaller, which kind of defeats the point of a Flieger, because obviously you want that big dial. That's what these are all about, that big, clear, easy to read dial. But I definitely think the overall, all the improvements, the little touches, little upgrades, they've just made a real big difference. On their own, they don't seem like much, but add them all up, I think it just makes for a better overall watch. And like I said, with this strap, it's a nice Strapsco strap that I paired it with. I think it's a nice combo. But again, with the original strap, it's not too bad either. But that's it for this one, guys. I'll leave links for both of the watches down in the description if you want to check them out. I'll also leave a link to the review of the previous one if you want to know a bit more details. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.